what you mentioned with stress is super important because people listening, they've got family responsibilities and business responsibilities and responsibilities in general. And it can feel insurmountable, especially without this performance training. Because really, what we're talking about here with breathing, this is performance training. This is how not just to perform athletically, but to perform as a corporate athlete, to perform as a family athlete, right? To perform as an athlete in your day-to-day normal life. And if you're stressed, like you said, it's going to be hard to breathe. And then that's an endless pattern of, okay, well, now you're stressed, you're having trouble breathing. And because you're having trouble breathing properly, now you're stressed more frequently. And it's this never ending pattern. So I know that you hold these awesome retreats for people. And I think you've actually got a retreat coming up in a few days. I saw it on your LinkedIn profile, which your retreats look awesome. And the testimonials you have from these retreats are absolutely incredible. They look serene. I see like the pictures you're posting of them. Like at your retreats, how do you help people to break the stress pattern? How do you help people to begin to breathe functionally once again? Because with breathing, it's something that we've been automatically doing. Like we might have a habit right now of stress breathing, of anxious breathing, right? And we've been doing it so automatically for so long that it just has become a part of who we are. How can we break that pattern and begin to make steps towards functional breathing?
Well, I will say with my retreats, the half-day retreats or full-day retreats, where you have a limited amount of time for people to become more self-aware. So we start with slowing down the breathing. And I work with them to really get a sense of how their body feels when they breathe. So, for example, if you are stressed, your breath tends to be short. You tend to breathe from the upper chest, and that's going to cause tension in the top of the body. When you are consciously able to slow your breathing down through the nose and particularly extend the exhale, that's the starting point for many people. We don't, without going into the science or anything that's too complex, just sitting quietly and getting them to focus the body and calm that breath down is a revelation for most people, because they didn't think they could breathe that way. Because actually, as human beings, we need to breathe less. We breathe far too much. We overbreathe. We hyperventilate. So that raising their self-awareness and what they understand or their capability is with breath hold, for example, is very empowering for people. And particularly individuals from the corporate world who are very typically, they are used to delivering on deadline, push, push, push. Everything is, the expectation is there. You've got a goal to reach. That kind of mindset can be hugely beneficial in a short space of time to get a project finished. But if you are constantly in that fight or flight mode before you go to sleep, when you're with your family having dinner, when you're talking to your staff, that comes out, and it comes out as anger. It develops into depression and health conditions. People used to go, oh, it's a bit blasé now. Everything's caused by stress. We now know why that is. So for me, I just want to get people in the very early stages to develop self-awareness. Then we build like little building blocks. We add different techniques around different styles of breathing, so they understand how it feels to hold the breath, how the diaphragm moves, how the rib cage moves. And it's very powerful because it grounds you. I even take people out into, if there's a forested area in the one retreat that I use, and we walk barefoot and we do breath hold. And it's like a walking meditation. And so many of my clients love that because they suddenly feel really present and they trust themselves. And when you take that and you convert it into a work environment, being able to have a difficult conversation with your staff or with your boss, but controlling your breath before means that you are less reactive. You're going to get a better result because you're not coming across as defensive and aggressive. And this flows into skill set presentations, TED Talks. You can use these techniques in life in general. It is a toolbox for life. But I'm a big believer that, that you've got to start with self-awareness, and people have got to want to make these changes. It's no good us talking about the benefits. If you don't want to make a change or create a new habit, you never will.
Mm.
And I got to a point where my body just went, I can't do this anymore. And that was enough for me to make those changes. But now I also recognize when I'm starting to get stressed, I can change my breathing.
Because you trained yourself.
I've learned how to do it. And this is not something a skill many people even know is possible.